Hello and welcome to another AIC video. So I'm probably going to get some hate for this one, but I wanted to do a review on a laptop that's just sitting right over there that I bought not to do a review on. I sold my Lenovo Legion when I was preparing to move, and in the move I realized that was a bit of a mistake and I needed to have a slightly more powerful system to edit videos, do some gaming and some other stuff that I wanted to be doing in the move, take a little bit longer. So I went out and I bought a laptop that I saw a ton of positive reviews on online, and that is an Asus ROG Zephyrus G14, which is kind of a long name for a 14-inch gaming laptop. And I thought that this would be a perfect machine for me because I love kind of the smaller form factor systems. I love the color. White's one of my favorite colors for stuff. I've had white motorcycles. Most of my cars are white. I think it's just a smart looking color. So that really made me want to buy it. I love the overall layout of the machine. The ports, it has pretty decent ports with USB ports on one side and your video out and power and stuff on the other, with plenty of ventilation along the sides and back. It's a fairly sturdy design. It's made of mostly plastics, but it feels good. It feels well made. It feels sturdy. I really like just the overall design. I like the dots here with the metallic finish behind them. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it kind of gives a rainbow effect as it moves. Anyways, overall, I really liked the way it looked. It has pretty high specs on here. An AMD GPU, a Ryzen 9 CPU, and I thought that this would be a great system for me. And I've owned it now over half a year, and I'm done. I don't want it anymore. I'm going to be selling it. And the reason for that is heat. Now, I'm not ignorant. I've owned plenty of gaming laptops, high-end laptops. I reviewed thousands of laptops at this point, right? I recognize that when you put powerful equipment into the system, that it's going to get hot when you push it. That is not the issue I have with the machine. That is an obvious consequence of having high-end equipment in a laptop. The problem I have is even when you set the settings to their lowest minimal power usage, it still gets too hot. It's not a battery life problem. It's straight up a heat issue, and that heat issue causes issues in other places for me on the system, and support hasn't been much help. Forums, you go on the forums and they recommend you download GHelper, which is a third-party application, which you then go in and you start adjusting the power limits on the CPU and GPU, which makes sense. I've done before on desktops and things like that when I've done GPU cryptocurrency mining. But the thing is I feel like a laptop of this caliber out of the box should be able to game at high performance, high heat, big fan noise, but also detune itself sufficiently to be a comfortable laptop with a decent amount of battery life. Not amazing. I'm not expecting this to last 14-hour battery life. That's not what I bought it for. But to be able to be used with normal everyday computing and not be able to fry an egg on the keyboard. The screen of this is a 16 by 10 high resolution screen, like 12 or 20, 2560 by 1600, something like that. It has the infrared camera, so it can do Face ID, which I really appreciate. Just open up and off you go to the races. The keyboard, however, is pretty terrible. I'm very disappointed with the keyboard as well as the trackpad. It's a nice big glass trackpad, but it's overly sensitive, and we'll talk about the heat a little bit more here in just a second. But when it gets hot, there's issues there. And again, I come back to the heat problem. When this laptop is under any kind of load at all, I have several issues. One, the screen starts to flicker, and I've reached out to Asus support. All they've done is send me new drivers and new BIOS versions to update the laptop to, which has not resolved the issue. The other thing is the keyboard starts to act funny as well when it starts to get too hot. There's other issues. The key travel is not great, is not consistent between keys. The backlight's pretty poor. Overall, just a very meh keyboard on such an expensive laptop. Not really okay. If this was a $400 laptop, keyboard would be fine. On a laptop cost over $1,000, not great. Backlighting is very, again, inconsistent and not very good. And the trackpad, when it gets hot, when the system gets hot, becomes overly sensitive. Mouse starts jumping around, and I don't even have to be touching it for it to sense my hand. If I'm just like over here and I just touch over here, it will actually pick up that touch and do things on the computer as if I touched the trackpad. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I just have an extremely defective unit, but Asus support does not seem to think so. They, again, some driver updates, some firmware updates, and that's about all the support they were willing to give me on my system. So I'm kind of done. I'm going to wipe this system. I'm going to throw it up on eBay. Started off like $100 auction. I've bought laptops I wasn't impressed with before, but they were all under $500. This one being well over $1,000, really unacceptable to me. And I was really hopeful. Like I said, I love the way it looks. I love the features of it. The speaker quality is amazing. I'm very impressed with how good the speaker quality is on this. Very loud, a lot of bass. Very impressed with some of this laptop, but the main thing, usability, is crippled by just how hot it gets. And the solution being a third-party, community-developed application, while it is a solution, is not the solution that should be presented to people. Asus should have come out and given people a better solution than this. And I don't know if it's just the size of the laptop, the overall form factor, or what, or if it just has too high end of hardware in here. If the heat would be solved if it just had a Ryzen 7 instead of a Ryzen 9. You can't even use a Ryzen 9 sufficiently because it gets so hot it thermal throttles within seconds of pushing it. It was a very frustrating experience for me. So maybe you buy it off me, you get a better experience. I don't know. We'll see. But unfortunately, I am done with this laptop. I'm sure people have their comments for this video, but that is what it is. I didn't ever intend to make a video about this laptop. This was kind of just meant to be background for me. Anyways, any comments, questions, leave those down in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to respond to those. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.